Grill Sergeant here. What's going on, guys? Today we are on an epic quest to find which is the best pellet for your smoker. Let's start the show. Now, a few days ago I released a video called More Smoke, and that showed you the best tips and practices to get more smoke flavor from your smoker. But one thing that really stood out is a lot of people recommending, hey, try this brand and try this brand and try this wood, and here's my favorite combo. And that got me really thinking, you know, it'd be kind of cool to get a few different brands and then just to compare them and see how much that actually influences and changes the taste and flavor of the cook. In today's video, we are going to be looking at, we have some Traeger pellets, we have some Kingsford pellets, and we have some Pit Boss pellets. Now, mind you, there's like 20 different brands out there, and within those specific brands, they have like 10 to 15 different flavors that each brand makes. So that video would be like, we're reviewing 250 bags of pellets today. No, no, no. So today's video isn't necessarily to try to get you to get these specific bags, but more of the information you're gonna find in today's video is gonna help you in determining which is the best pellet for you, for your taste and for your smoker. Within these 3 bags that I tested for 3 days, same exact seasoning, same exact prep, and the only thing that was different was the pellets that we put in the hopper. And I was very, very surprised how much the actual flavor, texture, juiciness changed by just choosing which pellet we went with. So the first one we're going to be looking at is the Kingsford pellets. Now this one is the Kingsford. This is their paprika and onion mix. A lot of pellets you're going to see 100% all natural wood, or at least they claim that. More on that in a little bit later. But with this one, they went the different route. They're like, dude, we're putting some paprika on these pellets. We're putting some onions. So it's more of like, they're letting you know we are actually adding stuff to these pellets, and that's actually going to help enhance the flavor. And for the most part, it was actually, they were true. The chicken that we had on this, the interesting thing is the chicken skin was the least crispiest with the Kingsford. So if you're like, man, I like really crispy skin, that's the only drawback on this one. This, out of comparing all 3, the skin was least crispy with the Kingsford, but man, the flavor onto it, it was really, really good. The flavor stood out. And so having that extra paprika and onion, that actually did help. Now, one thing I did find surprising with the Kingsford pellets is the actual pellet size. There wasn't so much pellet dust in the Kingsford pellets, but the actual size of these were like 1/4 the size of the length of what the Traeger pellets would be, or the Pit Boss. Normally, you know, your pellet is cylindrical and it's going to be maybe about a little less than 1 inch. And my issue with that is if your pellets aren't really uniform, that could cause auger feed issues, but that was no issue. Between all these 3, I had no feed issues. Now, when it comes to fly ash, and fly ash is basically when you open the lid and you see those white tiny little particles floating around. The fly ash was actually very, very minimal on the Kingsford pellets. When you open your smoker, you really don't want to see a bunch of ash flying around. That's going to affect the flavor, not in a good way. And so when I opened the smoker lid, there's very little fly ash present with the Kingsford pellets. But I did notice when I opened the lid to either flip the chicken or do a temperature check and close it, there was the biggest temperature drop with the Kingsford pellets. Normally, if say your smoker's running at whatever temperature, say 300, if you open that lid, that smoker is going to drop 20 to 40 degrees because you just let all that heat out, and then it's going to come slowly back. With the Pit Boss, I usually don't see that much of a drop, and then with the Traeger, not that much of a drop, but there was a significant drop. I think it was in the ballpark of about 50 to 60 degrees. And then it went back up to temperature. So something to think about. Now, for price-wise, the Kingsford pellets comes in at the most expensive. This is a 20-pound box, and these were coming in at about $23. So out of these 2, most expensive pellet on the table. Now we're gonna transition to the Traeger pellets. Now between all these 3 pellets, the Traeger actually for the chicken had the crispiest skin, and so that I'm like, oh wow, that was actually pretty good, but it ended up being the least flavorful. Now mind you, my taste buds could be biased, but I actually had the family weigh in each night till we were sick of eating chicken. And so basically we gave the notes Traeger together, we gave the notes on the Kingsford together, and we gave the notes on the Pit Boss together. So it wasn't just my opinion. With the Traeger pellets, it did lack the least amount of flavor. As far as turning on the smoker and having the smoker come up to temperature, the Traeger pellets actually heated up the grill the slowest, just comparing it to the Kingsford and Pit Boss. Normally, when you turn on your smoker, you open up the lid, turn on the smoker, you can go inside, prep something, and come out. And normally you're going to see that thick cloud of smoke. And from there, once the fire actually starts in the burn pot, you can then close the lid. And I remember with these two, it's like you kind of get used to your smoker. So it's like, all right, turn on the lid, open it up. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to prep something for a few minutes, and I'm going to come out. And when I came out with the Traeger, smoker wasn't even smoking yet. So it didn't even get to the smoke part to then start smoldering and then start the fire. Say these ones heat up in about 5 or 6 minutes. This one was definitely like 8 to 9 minutes to actually get the fire going in the smoker. The big issue is our Traeger pellets 100% all natural wood. And it turns out, just in doing some research, they were actually sued because they claimed to be 100% all natural, but at the same time on their own site, they say they use an oil as a lubricant for their pellet dye to basically when they cast their pellets, and that oil has spices and seasonings in the oil to help enhance the flavor of the pellet. Now I'm not against if you can put something in your pellet and it actually adds to the flavor of, because look at that, that's what Kingsford did. They said, hey, we put paprika and onion in this. They were open and honest about it. But you can't really say something's 100% all natural wood if you're also saying, oh, well, we did add seasonings and oils to the pellet as well. So they were actually, I saw like a lawsuit against Traeger. I don't know if it went through, but basically someone was saying you can't say it's 100% all natural wood and leave out that you did put oils and seasonings to help create and bind your pellet. To contrast that, you have Pit Boss pellets that are actually 100% all natural. And my question is, well, how do you get the pellet to stay together if you're not actually using binders or oils or glues? And they actually, under extreme high heat, are able to shape and form the pellet. And there's a thing called lignin, I don't know. There's something within the wood itself, and that basically acts as its own glue to hold the pellet shape together. So basically Pit Boss uses no oils, no glues, no binders, just it's 100% all natural wood in their blends. So with Pit Boss, we did try their hickory blend, and man, oh man, as far as taste goes, they knocked these ones out of the water. You would think after having chicken for 3 days, you're gonna be like, I'm so sick of eating chicken. And I was afraid that was actually going to be a bias, but we did save Pit Boss for the last, and everyone was just like, man, the flavors and juiciness and tenderness that came from these pellets, it was night and day. Now, when opening up the lid, there was 0 fly ash present, whereas there was minimal fly ash present with the Kingsford, and there was a lot of fly ash present with the Traeger. Last thing to note is the size, and you basically have a 20-pound box of Kingsford, you have a 20-pound bag of Traeger, and you have a 40-pound bag of Pit Boss. And for pricing goes, this was about $23, this was about $20, and this was also $20. So realistically, for half the price, you're getting a very good quality pellet comparing it to the Kingsford or Traeger. At the end of the day, if I can get the best flavor and the cheapest pellets, I'm probably going to stick with Pit Boss. Now with Pit Boss, they probably have like 15 or 16 different blends, and you would think like, I'm just gonna get the competition blend and we're just gonna call it a day. But you're actually missing out because each different bag is going to have a very unique flavor that it adds to your smoker. And so kind of the fun part is you get to cook and experiment with different blends and see which one works for you. I have never actually tried the hickory blend as of yet, and so this was my first time using the hickory, and I was blown away. It was one of those things like, man, I've been like smoking for 3 years, not like smoking, but backyard barbecuing for 3 years, and I'm actually kind of sad that I'm actually trying out the hickory blend now, because man, the flavor and smoke, it was so good. I mean, this was fun because it really showed me how much of a difference the actual quality of pellet makes when smoking your barbecue. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Grill Sergeant out.